There's one thing that can help you when you're driving on slippery ice and snow more than anything else, and that's knowledge, knowing what to do to stay in control. For that potentially life-saving knowledge, we went to Steamboat Springs, Colorado, to the renowned Bridgestone Winter Driving School.
We've poured about 40,000 gallons of water on every track, allowed them to freeze. So we push snow on top of them every morning, and typically it gets snowed on a lot out here, but unfortunately you are driving on solid ice.
And driving on solid ice is just about as treacherous as you can get. Here, drivers learn how to deal with those situations that can get you in serious trouble. Turns can be especially difficult, and when you're turning a corner, you may have to deal with something called oversteer. It's when your car is steering too much.
So if you turn in and suddenly the car goes out of control, don't forget where you're looking. Steer to get there. Maybe even have to add some throttle to put some additional grip on the rear tires of the car to regain control after an oversteer.
On the other hand, if your car tries to go straight when you turn, that's called understeer.
So if we happen to be driving along, come into an icy corner, and steer with the steering wheel too much, we might find that we have to reduce the amount of steering. Suddenly, the front tires can regain grip and carry us where we'd like to go.
Regaining that grip between the surface and your tires is key in maintaining control.
I'm Mark Stolberg from Master Drive, and we're here to talk about winter driving. The technique for recovering from a skid is to look where you want to go and to steer in that direction, using smooth, progressive inputs to the steering wheel. Also, do not put on the brakes and do not put on the gas. That just adds more force to the skid. You want to reduce those forces, get the tires lined up, and allow momentum and the rolling of the tires to get you back on your path of travel. Spin control picks up where skid recovery left off. So if the car is going to go too far, it's going to go around to where it's going to go to backwards. The key is to get all four wheels lined up by the time it gets backwards. That way, when they're in alignment with the momentum, they'll roll and the car will stop spinning. Important is that if you did this, you have no idea whether that's straight or not. Versus if you use good steering technique and you had done two of these in your skid recovery, then you do two of those and you are back to straight, back to neutral steering, which is the key. Sometimes you want to drive in the tracks that are left in the snow on the road. If those tracks are dry, drive within them. But if they're icy, then drive outside of the tracks on the snowpack right next to it, and you're going to get a lot more grip. Technique needs to be smooth in steering and braking and accelerating. I can snap the wheel and the car is still going straight because I moved the wheel so fast the tires couldn't respond. Or I can move it more progressively and the car actually turns.
Traction control stops your wheels slipping when you're accelerating, but will it work driving uphill? These huts shield specially prepared gradients of ice from the sun and are the perfect place to test. This is what happens when the traction control is switched off. No traction control, no traction. Come on, come on. All right, I'll dip the clutch, proper driving technique for ice. Very gently, gently. Gently, gently, gently. Right, I'll take a run at it, that's it. No matter what I tried, the front-wheel drive X-Type wasn't going up. But turn the traction control on and power is automatically restricted so the tyre's grip is never overwhelmed. The hill is conquered with no fuss at all.
You might think that the colder it gets, the more slippery it is. Well, it's not exactly true. When the temperature's at 32 degrees, it's very slippery because the water is still wet. The closer to zero it gets, the more grippy the road becomes and the more traction you have.
Smooth acceleration, gradual progressive application of the throttle, and we're able to make progress really well. As opposed to putting the gas on too abruptly, and we're just going to spin our tires. You can use your transmission to your advantage in slick conditions. If you're trying to accelerate, the lower gears, first gear, gives you a lot of torque and likes to spin those tires. In a car, you can select that gear and you can go up to second gear. In a stick shift, you just choose second gear. In automatic, oftentimes there's a setting, if you check in your owner's manual, where you can start out in second gear. By starting out in second gear, the engine is not in its power band, it doesn't have as much torque, and you're less likely to spin the tire.
Bringing your car to a controlled stop is also vital. Many newer cars have anti-lock brakes, and you should know if yours has them.
The way to use ABS, anti-lock brakes, is just to stand on the pedal with a lot of pressure, and that lets the system know you want maximum braking from all the tires and it can be working on all the tires. Alternatively, if you don't have ABS or the ABS malfunctions, you might have to pump the brakes. And we call it cadence braking, where we're pumping the brake up to the point of lockup and then releasing it suddenly.
Nearly all vehicles come with all-season tires, okay in snow, but they don't provide the grip winter tires do. Winter tires are made with a different rubber compound that grips better in cold weather and an optimized tread width. I tried an SUV with all-season tires and found it skidded more and didn't stop as surely.
Takes a while, doesn't it? Oh, and you can see how sideways the car is on these tires. Yeah.
But in an SUV with winter tires, the improvement was noticeable. Now, you may never drive in conditions quite as harsh as these, but it's always good to know there are things you can do to help you be as in control as possible.
If you get stuck in the snow, spinning your tires isn't going to get you out. It might melt the snow and make it slicker, might dig a bigger hole. One of the things that you have at your disposal is your floor mat. Simply clear out the snow, put the floor mat under the tire, then when you back up onto the floor mat, it gives you grip, the tire doesn't spin, and you'll get enough momentum to get out of the snow.
You see it every winter. Unsuspecting drivers slipping and sliding uncontrollably on icy roads.
When it's ice, it's just slick. So no matter whether you're driving a big truck or a little car, there is zero traction.
Unfortunately, you can't always anticipate when you'll hit an icy path. But if the temperature drops below 32 degrees, there's a good chance you'll find some, including the ice you don't see.
Somewhere around that mid-30 range, you can have black ice that you can't see. You can only see a sheen on the roadway, and you need to be very aware and slow down.
One of the biggest mistakes drivers make is to slam on the brakes when they hit ice, which can actually cause you to lose traction.
So what you want to do is you want to keep your hands firmly on the steering wheel at 3 and 9. Try to drive straight through the ice. If you do start to slip, you want to steer where you want to go so that you can drive through the situation.
And having the right tire can make a big difference, too.
The tires are the most critical part because there's only 4 things that touch the ground, and that contact patch is what it's called. Really needs to have the best grip with the roadway.
So the thing to remember about driving on ice or icy conditions is never ever go to a hard brake or lose traction. That's the secret. Never lose traction. You've got to maintain traction the whole time. So what you want to do when you counter a situation, you realize the car's starting to slip just a little bit, is when you apply your foot to the brake, You always want to give gentle, very gentle pressure. Just think like you have a boiled egg between your foot and the gas pedal. Very gentle pressure. If the tires ever lock up, and that means even because you have ABS, anti-lock braking, you still have to push very gently on the brake to make sure you don't seize up or lose traction. Once you lose traction, it's like driving on glass. You just slide all over the place and you slide right into the next thing that's going to stop you. So that's the main thing to remember. It all has to do with the brake pressure. Also for traction control on the steering, remember when you're in a situation like that and you start to go into a slight skid, you always want to turn the wheel in the direction opposite the particular skid. Nothing abrupt, very nice and easy, just like your brake pressure on the brake pedal to make sure you don't seize up the brakes and maintain control of the vehicle. That's the secret. Maintain control of the vehicle on the ice and you get through it okay. Two more things to think about when you're driving on icy situations, okay? The first thing is once you encounter the ice is take your foot off the gas and stop accelerating. Okay, once you encounter that situation, it's a shock to you and you're not expecting it. So immediately take your foot off the accelerator. That'll decrease your speed a little bit. Maintain a firm grip on the wheel. Remember, the secret of driving on ice is nothing jerky and nothing abrupt. Firm grip on the steering wheel. Maintain a positive forward momentum as best you can. And then the second thing to think about has to do with acceleration when you're driving on ice. Unless you've got tires on there that are studded or snow tires or chains on there, anytime you do an abrupt pressure on the accelerator, it's going to cause the wheels to spin, and that sudden acceleration or the spinning of the wheels could give you a loss of traction and therefore result in maybe going off into the ditch instead of keeping it straight and narrow down the road. So just remember, driving in icy situations, slow and easy, nice and easy, nothing abrupt, not harsh braking, and certainly a firm grip on the steering wheel and not jerking the steering wheel.
So the number one tip is stay home if you can. It'll save you a lot of headache if you don't know how to drive in the snow. Number two would be if you feel your tires or your vehicle start to slide on ice, do not slam on the brakes. That is the number one mistake that people that don't know how to ride or drive in the snow make. If you feel your vehicle start to slide, do not slam on the brakes. Don't hit the accelerator either. Don't try to power your way out of it. You are not Speed Racer. You are not Racer X. You're going to be this guy if you try to do that. See? This cute little car. That's what you're going to be. Just take your foot off the gas pedal if you feel your vehicle start to slide. Let the vehicle right itself. That is number two. Also, you want to make note of treacherous places. Anything under a bridge can be more treacherous. You can run into icy spots under bridges. Also, over bridges or overpasses. Like this one here where I'm crossing over another highway. These places in particular can be more icy. Usually if it's bad like this and I'm going over a bridge of any kind or under a bridge, I will just let off on the accelerator during that time. You don't want to end up like that guy. Also, you want to play defense in the snow. Defense. It doesn't matter how good your skills are driving in the snow. An idiot will negate all the bonuses you get from being a good driver in the snow. Another notoriously dangerous place when there's a lot of snow on the road, when you can't even see the lines. Ramps. You want to really go slow on the ramps. Take your time, play defense.